Welcome to the Happy Rebel podcast. I'm Kelly Street, your host and owner of Happy Rebel. It's my mission to explore the authentic stories and wisdom from creators, entrepreneurs, and holistic life seekers like myself. Join me as we challenge societal norms, create room for growth, and connect with the people and the stories that can empower us on our path to becoming happy rebels. Get ready to be inspired and armed with practical tools to navigate your unique journey. Connect with us on Instagram at Happy Rebel, where you can ask questions and share your thoughts. This is the Happy Rebel podcast, where we embrace the dark and the light. I will invite you to close your eyes or just kind of rest and focus them on one spot and take a deep, cleansing breath. Inhale deeply, and as you exhale, release any tension or distractions. As you breathe in, envision a bright light filling your being, infusing you with clarity, purpose, and intention. With each exhale, release any doubts or fears. Let go of anything that no longer serves you on this journey. In this space, we embrace the duality of life, the light and the dark, the challenges and the triumphs. We acknowledge the growth that often comes from rebellion against the ordinary. As you continue to breathe deeply, know that you are not alone on this path. Together, we seek happiness, purpose, and connection. With gratitude for this moment of grounding and connection, slowly open your eyes, ready to embark on this podcast journey. Thank you. Welcome, Lauren. You
Hi.
guys, Lauren's here. I want her to tell you all about herself.
My name is Lauren. I'm 37 years old. I have one kid and one dog, and one husband, and we picked up our entire life in the summer of 2022 and moved to Portugal from the United States. So I've been doing the immigrant life for about 18 months now, and that's been eye-opening in many ways. I have an Instagram account that's dedicated to slow fashion. After I had aforementioned baby, I figured out that I had no idea what I liked or how to dress anymore. And so I spent a few years working that out for myself. And then because I'm a giant attention whore, I decided to talk about it on the internet. So that's giant attention whore is really what sums everything up.
Great. Oh my God. Okay, I love this. I am also 37 and I also have one child. I gained her through marriage, but she's still,
Excellent.
mine,
I'm a
and I'm still
big
hers.
fan of the only child thing. That wasn't a decision that we came to like immediately, and now in retrospect it was totally the right thing for us.
Yeah, one kid is very easy.
Yes, it really is. And I'm
Yes.
happy to say that. I'm not one of those parents who gets super mad and like, "Oh, I'm a parent too." And it's like, "Yes, we're all parents, but one is definitely easier than three, and you're kidding yourself if you don't think that's the case."
Yeah. All the people I know who have 3 kids, I don't know that they I've never
Man,
heard them say that it's easy.
None of my friends made that second one look fun or easy. And then I was like, we got her out of diapers and we were just like, we're not going back.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. And I also have 1 dog.
Yes, as a person who at one point had four, one is also easier than three. Like it's one dog, one kid, I'm good. And mine function a lot like siblings, which is a really strange relationship to watch. It's very funny. The dog is her brother. They antagonize each other the way that siblings do, and they bicker, and they're also super sweet to each other, and they love each other. It's such a funny little relationship to watch.
Oh, that's so sweet and weird and crazy, and I love it.
Yeah, I know. It's we did it because we started calling the dog her brother, and then it just stuck, and now it's like a whole thing.
Yeah. We call our dog the baby, which
Mm.
also is really weird. And I'm
Yes.
sure
Yeah.
there are some people who are listening who are going to actually cringe at that, and that's fine. That's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. I get it. Well, yeah, we often have to remind our daughter that Sprocket is not a human being. She forgets.
I probably need to remind myself of that sometimes, but that's all right. That's all right. He, acts like a little baby. Anyway, okay, I want to know about your Instagram handle, Bizarre
Oh,
Gardening Accident.
bizarre gardening accident. Okay, that is a movie reference. It is from have you ever seen This Is Spinal Tap? The Christopher Guest mockumentary. It's the same people who did like Best in Show. It's kind of that crowd and it's a mockumentary about a fake British rock band and one of their drummers died in a bizarre gardening accident. And the first time I saw that movie, that phrase just stuck in my head because it's so funny. Like, first of all, no one dies in gardening accidents, and second of all, like let alone a bizarre gardening accident. And the other thing is, it kind of left me open to. I had a vision for what I wanted to talk about, but I thought, okay, well, if I change my mind, this doesn't tie me to anything specifically. And it's
Yeah.
also sort of this pop culture reference that draws the right people to me. And I do have a couple of people who have messaged me and been like, I follow you. I'm not into fashion at all. I just follow you because I love your Instagram handle. So that's a little bit of it. It's a little bit a way to kind of attract the right people.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I'm ashamed to say I have not seen This Is Spinal Tap, but I have watched pretty much every other Christopher Guest movie.
Okay,
Uh,
you need to watch
yeah,
Spinal Tap. If you're into Christopher Guest, then you'll get a big kick out of this. Spinal Tap is truly excellent. It's very funny.
will do. Yes, it is going on my list.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That'll be
for
my
sure.
next.
So that's where Bizarre Gardening Accident came from, and then our kid's name is Ripley, which is also a movie reference, and that's from Alien. So I love when people are like, "Oh my God, like Ellen Ripley," and I'm like, "Yes, you get it. This is the type of person I want to hang out with."
Oh, yes. Okay, attracting the right people. I love it, which is how I found you because
Yeah.
I just randomly was served one of your reels, I don't know, 6 months ago maybe,
Uh huh.
and immediately was like, I love what this person is doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it was your authenticity and just kind of like showing up as you are, like who cares? And that's clearly your whole vibe. I love it.
Yeah.
Um, and also just what you said, because, talking about sustainable fashion, that's something that is near and dear to my heart, but is also a struggle because we do live in a world where fast fashion is just the norm.
A lot of people don't have options besides fast fashion. And that's something that I try to keep at the forefront whenever I talk about any of this stuff is like whether it's availability, time, price, whatever, it is the only option because all of the systems that exist in the world have been set up to herd us into this one place where we don't have another way to do things. And I think some of that can get lost in the sustainability conversation. So a lot of the authenticity or whatever is also me being contrarian because that's how I am by nature. So when you're getting the same messaging about a subject and everybody's kind of saying the same thing, it immediately makes me think critically about the message that we're all getting and then want to pick it apart and be like, okay, well, here's the problem with that. So that's kind of, I think, a lot of the Instagram growth that I've experienced over the last year has happened because I would see all of these fashion reels or whatever, and I didn't like what was being said because I thought there were problems with it. So I pointed out those problems and presented a different approach, a different way to think about things, a different way to do things. And it's paid off. I have found my people to some degree.
Yeah. How did you cultivate that for yourself? That because I think the nuance to what you said is like you can be a contrarian, you can be like I'm going to go against the grain, I'm going to do something else. But the thing that you said about being a critical thinker to step back and acknowledge and to be like, let's think about
Yeah.
this.
So it's one thing to be contrarian for the sake of being contrarian. And that's kind of like my natural disposition. No one made me that way. That's how I am. But if you can temper that with a little bit of critical thinking when you say, okay, well, I don't want to do that. And you have to sit down, and it becomes a more automatic process the more you do it. But you have to sit down and be like, okay, well, what is it about this that bothers me? Do I have a legitimate complaint? Is there a real thing here? Or am I just being an asshole? Because like I spent a lot of my life just being an asshole. And it was unintentional on my part, but I would find problems in messaging but not ever really investigate more deeply about what it was about the messaging that
Mm.
bothered me. And now it's easier for me to point out, okay, well, here are these three problems with this, and this is why I have those problems.
Oh, so good. Yeah. I don't even have anything to say back to that. It's just, it's perfection. You guys, this is what you just need to do.
I mean,
And
yeah, I definitely, I think the problem that most people run into is not picking apart the things that we take as fact and as for granted and things that there's a lot more of the world that is mutable than we think it is, I think, in a lot of ways. And when you look at these systems and you think critically about them and you look at the things in your own life and
Mhm.
think critically about them, you realize that a lot of the barriers that you're encountering are in your brain.
Yes. Okay, this is so kind of ridiculous, but can I relate that to skinny jeans?
Absolutely, please do. I relate everything to skinny jeans. I have like 50 reels about skinny jeans.
Oh, okay. So we'll see if this is controversial if depending on your thoughts on skinny jeans. Okay, personally, I love skinny jeans. I love them for myself. I like how they, depending on the style, I like how they generally, look on me, and I am devastated that fashion says that I should not wear them anymore.
I know. I completely understand that, and I did not declutter any of my skinny jeans when the whippersnappers decided they weren't cool anymore. And the reason it's not just it's practicality number one. They all still fit me. They're all still in good shape. There's no reason for me to get rid of all of that. I'm not going to get rid of perfectly good clothes because some 23-year-old on the internet told me I wasn't cool anymore. Like, please, your mom
Ooh.
still makes your doctor's appointments. We can talk about something else. Um,
Oh my God.
so that's easy for me to kind of that's an easy spot for me to get into mentally. But the other thing is like the trend cycle has become so compressed that I promise you skinny jeans will be back in like 5 minutes. It's the
Mhm.
next thing. We're on Y2K fashion right now because the whippersnappers missed that. They, weren't wearing skirts over their jeans when they were 14 or whatever, like we were. And so I don't need to revisit Y2K fashion because I was there the first time. I don't have anything against it, whatever. It's just, it's not my thing because I already lived that. So I think if you live in a world where you haven't gotten to experience skinny jeans yet, they're going to be back. And it's just, it's all cyclical. And once you see that for what it is, it becomes very easy to disregard all of these like things that content creators make sound like law. There are no fashion police. Nobody's going to come get you for keeping your skinny jeans. Like keep wearing them. Nothing's going to happen.
Great. My favorite fashion law to break is, and then I want to know yours. So think about it. My favorite fashion law to break is that I love wearing white jeans all year round.
Absolutely. I that was going to be mine. I have
Oh,
white bottoms year round all the time. I'm a big fan of pattern mixing. I will wear a plaid and a stripe and a polka dot in one outfit and like you can't tell me shit about it cuz I'm convinced that I look amazing and like and that's the thing is like it's all in your brain. Like if you are convinced that you look amazing, there's not much anybody else can say to you about that to you have to commit to the bit is the thing. If you're really committed to the bit, no one's going to be able to talk you out of
I can see why Christopher Guest is one of your favorites because all of his movies commit
Yes,
to the
commit, like,
effing
just
bit.
if you're gonna do it, really do it. I have my mom has been saying this to me for my entire life, and it's in my Instagram bio, and it's one of those like core tenets that I really do try to live by. Anything worth doing is worth overdoing. Commit.
Mm,
And if you don't like it enough to fully commit, then you don't like it enough and keep looking for the thing that you do like enough because it won't be hard to commit to things that really light you up.
yeah. Okay, speaking of quotes, this just came back to me. My quote in my high school yearbook that I wanted to leave everyone with, my wisdom as a 17-year-old, was to say it was something like choose style over comfort every time.
Yeah, I am not that person and I never have been. Oh God, I can't do it. I quit wearing heels when I was like 22 or so. We went to my husband's like first big I got married really young. I was like 24 when I got married. So we were
Mm.
engaged at the time and he had his like first big boy job and we had a corporate Christmas party to go to and I wore these adorable heels. I loved them. I looked great. But the next day, my knees started like clicking every time I bent it. And I was like, this is not worth it. I'm not doing
Mhm.
this anymore. So I quit wearing heels when I was about 22 years old. And I will not be uncomfortable in the name of style ever. And you can thread that needle. You can look amazing and still be comfortable. And that is something that is extremely important to me.
Oh, thank goodness. Yes. That was 17-year-old Kelly, and now
Mhm.
37-year-old Kelly hasn't worn heels more than like a block heel or something like that
Yeah.
in 5 or 10 years almost.
Yeah. I'm just
And
not gonna do it.
no, and most of the time I wear jeans and sweatshirts or jumpsuits. Jumpsuits are one of my favorite comfort items.
I've been looking for the right jumpsuit, I'm not kidding, for like 3 years. I haven't found the right one yet. I know it's out there. I
Oh,
just need to find it.
yeah. I particularly like Madewell jumpsuits.
Nice.
They tend to fit me well. A little bit of alterations.
Yeah.
Which speaking of, what are your thoughts on altering clothes?
I'm a huge fan of it. Um, I think tailoring can get expensive, but it is absolutely worth it. But if you can learn to do simple things like sew a button back on, if you have access to a sewing machine and can sew in a relatively straight line, you can hem a lot of pairs of pants. Some very very basic sewing skills will change your wardrobe for the better because you can customize things to your fit. And it'll also save you a ton of money. Like you don't have to throw out the entire pair of pants when the button goes. You can sew the button back on. And like once you do a tiny repair that otherwise, if you hadn't done, your clothes would be unwearable. You're like, oh my God, why haven't I been doing this for my entire life? So definitely a few basic sewing skills will save you so much money. And the other thing about tailoring, I don't know if you've seen quiet luxury as a trend or whatever. I hate that for a bunch of reasons. But what quiet luxury actually is having clothes that fit your body and it doesn't really matter what they look like. What matters is how they fit you. That's what quiet luxury is. Having all of
Ooh.
your stuff tailored to your body will automatically make you look way expensive every single time.
Oh,
So I
beautiful.
mean really things as simple as taking a half inch off the hem of your pants if they're not exactly the right length can make a huge difference.
Mm, yes. Okay, I want to talk about how you came to have your style and rediscovering your style, because this is one of the things I wrote to you is that when it was like, what do we want to talk about? Is that I at now at this age, I think when I hit 35, I was like, what do I wear? What do I
Hmm.
like to wear? Who am I?
Yeah.
Clothes?
Yeah. So that happened to me after I had a baby. And I had this new human being to keep alive. I didn't recognize anything about my body because all of my organs had been shifted around for 10 months, and like it's kind of like waiting for things to go back to like, am I ever going to feel normal again? Um and so I started I went to Instagram and I started
Mhm.
like following all of these people who talked about clothes, and I kind of tried to see what was really speaking to me, what I liked on other people. And then I broke down what specifically it was I liked on other people. And what I found at the time, and this is not really the case anymore, but I would still recommend doing it this way. What I found was that everything that I liked on other people was either black, white, or tan. It was a color palette. It was a neutral color palette. And at that time, what I needed was to feel put together, like I had my shit together, like everything was amazing, even if it wasn't. I needed to look like I was in control of the message or whatever.
Yeah.
And I found neutrals the best way to accomplish that for me. So for like 2 years, if it wasn't black, white, or tan, I didn't get it. And so at the end of a couple of years, I had this really great base wardrobe that was very easy to add other stuff to because it was all black, white, and tan. So like if you buy a red top, well, guess what? It goes with every set of bottoms that you've got because they're all black, white, or tan. Like so that
Mhm.
was it was a good way to build a base wardrobe. So I started with a color palette. And it's not the only way to go. It's you got to know a little bit about what you like as a starting point. And then most of the time you just need a starting point, a place to start.
Mm. Okay. So I think my ideal fashion, my ideal style would be a mix of Carrie from Sex and the City,
Mhm.
Miss Frizzle,
Okay.
and from Magic School Bus.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Oh, I know. I've gotten Miss Frizzle. I've got some Miss Frizzle outfits.
Mhm. And Wednesday Addams.
Excellent. See Wednesday Adams is like the perfect starting point for me. I love that. Just like, oh, okay, we'll buy 75 black dresses and wear nothing but black dresses for the rest of your life if that's what you want to do. It's finding that starting point, and where you start will not like you won't always be there. It'll definitely change. But when you find that starting point, that outfit that like really makes you feel good, it builds confidence to try other things, and you start to trust your own taste more.
Mhm. How many closets do you have?
Well, we have we've got built-in wardrobes. We're in a European apartment. So they're built into the wall. And we have one in mine and my husband's bedroom, and that's all his. And then in his office, there is a wardrobe on either side of the room built into the wall. And I have both of those and an IKEA wardrobe. So three, I guess. I was not prepared for how bad that answer would sound. Three. I have three closets.
That's yeah.
I happen I
What
happen to I happen to know exactly how many pieces of clothing I own because I counted them as a thought exercise a couple of months ago. It's 268 things.
268 things. Now I need to go count mine.
Yeah,
I'll be back. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, I mean, so somebody said something on Instagram like, how do I justify being an advocate of slow fashion and owning as much clothing as I do? Which I thought was an interesting question. And my first instinct was to be defensive about it and go, well, I don't have that much. And then I was like, well, you don't even know how much you have. So that's what started it. So I ended up counting everything, and it was a good thing for me to do because now I know exactly what's there. And I also know that I love every single piece of it, and every single piece of it was added with an intention and a thought behind it. So like it's a lot, but it all gets worn and there's a reason for every single piece.
Yeah. I'm guessing that I probably have about the same amount, and I cannot say that about my own wardrobe that I love every single piece.
Yeah.
Um, so how did you get there? Like, um, I've done the whole Marie Kondo spark joy
Mhm.
exercise. I've
Mhm.
done the like try on every piece and see how it feels. I've tried to make my own capsule wardrobe. I feel like I am lost in a storm and there is no port for me to go to. I
Yeah.
don't know how to do that.
It's I started doing this about 7 years ago, and I had enough. But here's what it is: I had enough money to, for the first time in my life, to really do some damage here. So I
Yeah.
knew that I could go buy a bunch of stuff willy nilly, but it needed to be the right stuff. So I was very, very picky about what I would allow into my closet from when I started this process 7 years ago. Um, and so if it wasn't exactly what I was after, I didn't buy it. So that's
Mm.
it's passing on a lot of stuff. It's not making allowances for things that are less than perfect. If it doesn't fit quite right, if it's just not exactly what you are looking for, don't get it. You're not If you kind of don't like it, there's a small thing you don't like in the fitting room, you're not going to like that thing anymore once you get it home. And in fact, you'll end up not wearing it because of this one tiny detail, and you like kid yourself into thinking that's forgivable. It's not forgivable. You won't wear it. Don't wear it if you don't love it. And it takes a lot of self-control. It's like, doesn't it feel like a failure of some way? Like if you go shopping and don't come home with anything, like I think people
Yes.
feel like they failed if that happens. You didn't fail. Nothing was good enough for you. And that's fine. It's not always gonna be.
Nothing was good enough for you. I love that. Okay, because I have a confession. As you were saying this, I'm thinking, wow, I need to come out and share. I am such an emotional shopper. When
Yeah.
I don't feel good about my body, when
Hmm.
I don't feel good about myself, feel when I feel insecure, full stop.
Sure.
I, hop on whatever website, all the way from Nordstrom to Target, and
Hmm.
I think a couple new shirts or a new pair of jeans are going to fix it.
Yes, because definitely purchasing decisions when you already feel crappy, they're gonna be great.
Mhm.
Well, and if that worked, then we wouldn't buy things when we felt poorly because the thing that we bought would make us feel better. And you think it's going to. Every single time
Yes.
you think it's going to. You think this is going to be the one. This is it. This is different. And like it's that just rarely happens. It does happen. Sometimes I'll buy a thing and it like slots so perfectly into my life and I'm like, "Oh my god, where has this been my whole life?" And if that's not what you're feeling when you see the thing, yeah, you train yourself not to buy it. And it takes time to get out of that mindset because it's definitely something that's shoved down all of our throats. Like you can fix your feelings by buying something always.
Yes. Um, how did you get to be this self-aware, self-confident, like grounded person that you are?
I think I will give most of the credit to my parents. It turns out if you compliment your children constantly, it gives them an overinflated sense of self. And like, I'm confident to the point of delusional. And it's because my mother said nice things to me when I was a child. Like, I really, I think that's it. She told me I was gorgeous and smart every day for my entire life. And eventually I started to believe it.
Stunned. I'm stunned in
I,
silence. I mean, I think we know that's most of what it takes, right? Is
I mean,
like,
Yeah, and it's not that I don't have God, all of 2023 was kind of a crisis of confidence moment for me. The move to Portugal, although we chose it for ourselves, we knew what we were doing, all of that. I don't deal well with change, even
Mm,
under the best circumstances. So moving to a completely new continent, where I don't speak the native language, most people speak English, so this is like being an immigrant on easy mode. But um, all of that was really, it was definitely confidence shaking. Partially because the language barrier was a lot for me. As you can tell, I like to talk. I do it fairly well. Um, and for the first time in my life, I couldn't adequately express myself via speaking to people. Oh God, it really did a number on me mentally, like a lot. So I am generally at my core a pretty confident person, but it's shakable.
mhm.
It's not always there.
Yeah. How did you find a way to come through that?
I'm still coming through it in some ways. Taking Portuguese classes helped a lot, because, you know, it helped a lot because now I understand more Portuguese, but also it was I'm putting in the effort to be a good immigrant thing. Like I'm doing my best to fit into this new place that I've adopted as my home rather than try to be American in Portugal because there's a
Mm,
difference there. I'm really trying to embrace the culture as much as possible and be as Portuguese as I can. And that comes with kind of undoing some things and learning another language and going with the flow over here, which is different than the US.
yeah. You said to me before I hit record this like beautiful, and maybe you'll repeat it in your own words, but this beautiful sentiment of the basically your style can shift depending on where you live, or like the
Oh,
style fits the
absolutely.
place.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there definitely where you live can affect how you dress. Um, because like you said, going to the grocery store in a full Carrie Bradshaw outfit in Minnesota does not take the same level of confidence as, strolling through Brooklyn does. No one's going to look at you in Brooklyn. It's a different
Mhm.
story in Minnesota. And there are practicality aspects as well, but it's it's when you, and I'm repeating myself here, but when you are so in love with what you're doing, it becomes impossible for anybody to mess with you about that.
Mhm.
And it's about passing on anything that doesn't make you feel that confident. And it's a lot of looking for the right things. And definitely part of the style thing for me is I'm like having flashbacks to like 6th grade when I had these adorable little plaid pants that the rest of my classmates just absolutely roasted me for, so like it is easy to let what other people think of your outfit affect how you think of your outfit. Um but that's something, so I'm dressing for 12-year-old me in a lot of ways. And when you get to be older and you have a little bit more self-possession, you can do kind of whatever you want to do, really. But that's also why I left rural Louisiana. I had no interest in explaining why I was wearing a sequin pencil skirt to the grocery store. It's none of your business.
Yeah. Was that was that actually like part of the decision, was wanting the freedom and space to be able to express yourself differently?
Uh, Not really. I mean, that was definitely involved with why my husband and I are both from really tiny places in Louisiana, different places. We did not grow up together.
Mhm.
But he and I were both really rural kids who hated every minute of living out in the middle of nowhere. Both of us knew that we didn't want to spend our lives in rural Louisiana. So we kind of just moved up and up and up and up and up until we were in a completely different country. So I think to some degree, we're both just that type of person. I've never had a problem expressing myself, but I do have a problem when you take my self expression so seriously that we have to have a discussion about why I'm doing something that doesn't affect you at all. That's where I lose my patience. Like,
Mm.
just, if you don't have anything nice to say about somebody's clothes, don't say anything.
Oh man. Um,
And
what size
that's
are the oh yeah, go ahead.
well, that's one of the things that, like, that's one of the messages on Instagram that I kind of like picked apart when people are like, you have to be confident and not care what other people say about your clothes. And it's like, why aren't we telling people not to talk about other people's clothes? That would solve the problem. I wouldn't need confidence if you weren't messing with me about my clothes. So, like, I shouldn't need confidence to put the clothes that I like on my body. The only reason I need confidence is because you're being a jerk about it.
Yeah. And I think as a garage sale clothing kid,
Mhm.
for up until I was, 12 years old and I started to, say I wanted something else or buy my own clothes, it's not always an option. Like, it's not always
Right.
a choice. Like, sometimes we wear the things we wear because we got a good deal on it and that was what we could afford, or we
Yep.
had to, or like, you know what, maybe everything else is dirty and like I didn't have a chance to clean my clothes. So whatever, I'm wearing something a little mismatched. Who
Yeah.
cares?
It's clothing choices are so deeply personal, and there are so many other factors in your life that affect what you put on your body, that it's almost always a bad idea to criticize other people's clothes. It's there's nothing good comes out of it. You're not doing anything productive when you do
Yeah.
that. So I do want people to have the confidence to wear what they want to wear, but I also want everyone else to not talk about it.
Hmm. Yes. So how big was the town? What was the population of the town you
Oh
grew
my
up
god.
in?
Yeah, you were talking about 20,000 people in your small Minnesota town. The town that I grew up in had 1,500 people.
Okay. So the
Yeah.
town that I grew up in had 300 people.
Oh, yeah. Okay, then yeah, then you get it.
Yep, so I get it. So growing
Yeah.
up in a really small town, not being not knowing that I didn't really totally fit the mold,
Mhm.
and wanting to dress differently and wanting to wear things that were outside of the norm,
Yeah.
I did it back then. And
Yeah.
for some reason now, I think as an adult, moving a few years ago, moving to my husband's hometown, and this town of 20,000 people, like I almost reverted back to what I didn't do as a teenager, which is
Sure.
like, as a teenager, I was like, I'm gonna wear whatever I want. Abercrombie, ugh, I'm gonna wear
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And now as an adult, I'm like, okay, I have to, dress a little bit more simply and be in like
Well,
mom mode and this.
sometimes it's a matter of not wanting to fight the battle. Like, sometimes you can choose to conform so that you don't have to think about explaining yourself for not conforming. And I think there's a certain amount of power in that too. As long as you are the person who is making the choice because you don't feel like dealing with anybody's comments about your stuff, that's as much a choice as choosing to wear the crazy thing and deal with the comments. Like, you're not up for it I'm not up for it every single day.
Yeah. But I think, I'm just going to say, for me, your way of thinking about this is so much more healing and um, so much more what I want to embody. And
Oh,
so
good.
I'm
Well,
I'm going to take that away from our conversation.
that's the whole point of the Instagram page for me. Is I do think I have valuable insights to offer about the clothes that you wear and how you wear them and how you acquire them. And if I could, like, jar up the not give a fuck and hand it out, I would. And my Instagram page is an attempt at doing that, is like handing out whatever this innate thing is, and helping people think of things maybe in a way that they haven't previously.
Well said. So who are your fashion inspirations, if you have any?
Ooh. I do. My mom was like secondhand style queen way before that got to be a thing. Do you remember the brand Esprit? They were popular like in
Yes.
the 80s. Okay, my mom was a buyer for Esprit. So she has always had just the coolest clothes, and she's always put a lot of thought and care into what she wears. And it's less about what it is that she's wearing and more about the level of thought that she puts into it. But then also Blake Lively's character in A Simple Favor. I just talked about this the other day. Oh my God. I can't wear a 3-piece suit with 6-inch heels every single day of my life, but I can wear pleated trousers with a waistcoat and like a button up under it, and it kind of gives the same vibe. And it's like you find those people whose style that you like, but then you filter it through your own lens and make it practical for your own life. There's a way to do that, I think, with every style inspiration. Let's see, who else? Do I have anybody else? I don't know. That'll about do it. Blake Lively and my mom.
Perfect. So I mean, I think I could talk to you for another 4 hours. Um, Not that we've been talking for 4 hours already, but I think I could keep talking to you all day. But I can't do that because I have
This
things
has
to
been
do. You
this
have
has
things
been
to
so much
do.
this has been so much fun. I'm so glad that you asked me to do it. I'm thrilled to have been a part of it. I hope it comes out well.
It will. Where can people find you?
I
How do you
am
want them to
at
get a hold of you?
I can only deal with one social media platform as much as I would love to like be on TikTok or whatever. I can't do it. So Instagram is it. It's at Bizarre Gardening Accident 13. And that's where you can find me most of the time. Nope, that's the only social media platform I use. So that's it.
Amazing. Oh my God, I want to have a whole nother conversation with you about
I'm
how
happy to
terrible
come
it
back
is.
anytime.
Great. We'll have to do that. Amazing. Thank you so much, Lauren.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you for being part of the Happy Rebel podcast community. Stay connected with us on Instagram at Happy Rebel. If you've enjoyed our episodes, please consider rating, liking, and reviewing the podcast. It truly does help us grow. Until next time, this is Kelly Street. Remember, embrace the dark and the light.